having such a great time. We were just laughing, and the day was warm, and there was no concerns. And I just remember a feeling of bliss, actually. It was incredibly warm, sunny, great views. And I remember saying at one point that I felt like we hadn't suffered enough and I had cheated getting to the top of Huntington in these conditions. It was just amazing.
Just don't move. Do not move. We're going to lose the ropes. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. I know it makes you uncomfortable.
It makes me very uncomfortable.
Boom, boom, boom. Hi. I'll cut that.
Will you?
Max and I have been climbing together for 10 years now, since we were 16 years old.
And when I was 16, my then acquaintance, Jakin, offered to take me climbing. I think he was more just in need of a climbing partner.
Can you move to your left a little?
But we drove up to North Conway, and then he shed light on the fact that we needed a second rope. So that day I bought a rope and a set of quick draws.
It's not always rosy. Sometimes we grind on each other a little bit. I can be hard to get along with.
I remember eating dinner on a ledge halfway up Cathedral and looking out over North Conway, just thinking that this is the way it was meant to be.
What's the temperature?
Right now it's -10, -15 or so. It's almost bottomed out my thermometer. This is actually week 3. It's the very end of week 2.
What the fuck are you smoking?
28th, 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Very end of week 3. Fuck.
You alright?
I'm great.
Is it maybe the altitude?
Could be the altitude. Wow, we've been out here for 3 weeks already.
Yeah. And throughout it all, we were stuck in this tiny 2-man alpine tent. We were on the glacier for a total of 35 days. Alright, I am lying in my sleeping bag after a 12-hour battle with Montezuma's Revenge. Feeling better. Mostly. We're at 17,000 feet. Max, what's going on?
I got to bed around 4 in the morning and then woke up to Jake and puking and crapping his brains out. So it's been a long day.
And after I recovered at 17,000 feet, we had to make a decision about whether we wanted to summit on the west buttress, which we felt confident that we could do, or if we wanted to go try the Cassine, which is what we'd come for, and possibly fail. And we decided to go try the Cassine. And as we were getting over to what's called the West Rib Cutoff, Max was starting to feel sick to his stomach, and he was worried that he had what I'd had. And we decided to go up the West Rib. Okay, it's the day after. We did not summit on the West Rib. Max wanted to keep going, and I didn't. Max, you got anything to say?
What's that?
You got anything to say?
No. I'm not very good at skiing. Whoa.
There was never any question that we were going to go back. It was just a matter of what we were going back for.
And I know you taught me how to be a dreamer. You built houses in my head and said,
You'll get used to this.
someday please meet me there. And I know this road we've walked it trying to get to nowhere. You left verses in my hand and said, babe, we'll live on daily bread. And as the train went by, you knew that this is the closest we'll ever get to kingdom come. Thy will be done.
We got to Huntington, we set up base camp in a glorious day, shirts off, got pretty sunburnt, and then the next day we set off for the Colton Leach. Breakfast of Champions.
I'm on this hill, far away to the east, with a pit bull in my bed. It's the ending of a feast.
What I really wanted to do was keep going.
Then I wish
But-
you'd said that.
No, but the decision is, we made the right decision to stop.
Maybe, but that's not the point. Like, I wish you'd said that, and then we could have had a discussion.
It's hard to have a discussion from 200 feet away.
Yeah, and if you had been aligned and I had known that, then there's no need for a discussion. And if you're on the other side and we need to have a discussion, then we can, it's like, okay, well, like, did you just set an anchor? I'll come up and pitch and we'll discuss it.
We have been tent bound for the last 2.5 days by a storm. It's probably snowed 2 feet, at least. It's quite unpleasant. I'm stuck in a tent with Jakin, really hoping the snow stops soon.
Window glass is thin. The trains are up all night.
No, fuck you. Put it away.
Baby, I know it's your turn to count the days. It's coming at the first sign of light.
See, 2 days ago we headed up the west face couloir. We left camp at about 10:20, hoping to simulclimb to the base of the technical climbing through the night so we could both stay warm. It was a little too cold when we started having to pitch it out, and as Jakin led the first pitch, I froze. Both my hands, both my feet went totally numb. I was pretty much shivering uncontrollably while laying Jakin up. And at that point, we had been hit by a significant amount of spin drift and were soaked to the bone and just frigid cold.
Oh, hey. It's fucking cold. So everything was going really well. And then spin drift hell started. And now we're both very wet. Very, very wet. Very, very cold. Extremely cold. Morale is flagging.
When we found some snow to kind of make a ledge and sit in, we made the decision to go down.
Yeah, where did we leave off?
Nancy, how that whole thing came to be.
We had met Jakin and Max. They were our neighbors and nice young lads.
The same day that we had tried the West Face Couloir, Nancy and Pierre had tried the Harvard route.
But unfortunately, Pierre got frostbite on the way down. And that left both of us in a bit of a pickle. He had frostbite on his one baby finger, but it was kind of bad. He had 2 big blisters on his finger.
And Nancy came over to us and said, hey, I know you guys are thinking about trying the Harvard route.
I didn't know what I thought of it, and because it's kind of a big deal to commit to going on a large committing alpine route with 2 complete strangers, and even asking them was putting them in that situation too, you know, having to take along a stranger. So I summoned up the courage and got my resume ready to come over and ask these fellows if they would let me come on their trip.
And, you know, we waffled a little bit. We were like, well, you know, we have to talk about it, maybe.
And I told them just a little bit about my background and why I was there.
And she said to us, she was like, I don't usually tell people this, but I'm trying to climb the 50 classic climbs in North America.
Jake and I kind of looked at each other and were like, oh, that's cool, all right. Like, who isn't trying to do that?
And I was like, oh, cool, what number are you on? And she goes, well, this would be 46. Oh. Holy shit. Nobody's ever done it.
And she went back to her tent, and Jake and I looked at each other and said, well, of course we're going to climb the Harvard route with her.
We felt like we were going to slow her down, really, and that we could learn a lot from her. So that was it. We packed up, we changed the rack around, and talked to her about what gear we were going to bring, and went up the next morning.
Hero 3. Here we are. Harvard route, Mount Huntington.
No, I'm still gonna be tied in. But believe me, if I fall off, I'm gonna be fucking pissed too. But don't worry, I'm gonna blame Max, not you.
Here I am on Mount Huntington at about almost 11,000 feet. At probably the craziest alpine bivvy I've ever been on. It is pretty awesome, and it's really, really spectacular. Just woke up.
It was, again, really, really hot, cloudless, sunny day, so we were moving slow. But we made the summit, and
It was amazing. We stood up there and looked around, and that's when Jake and Max told me that this was their first Alaskan summit together. And that was pretty cool to hear that.
We hadn't told you that before?
Had not mentioned that.
No.
That was the first time I heard it. Yep.
Come on, we've definitely
Nope.
been like, you sure?
Yeah, good work. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Give you a 46. Woo! Hello!
46!
Oh my god, you guys!
Oh,
Holy
good job.
Good job, team.
Gotta redo that. Pretend to get ready to go again.
and then we repeated the traverse over to the top of the Harvard route and along the French Ridge. And then we built an anchor, a snow anchor, what we thought was well away from the cornice.
Max is going to go first because he's the heaviest. So Jake and I stand on top of the picket while Max rappels. Just the backdrop behind Max rappelling was spectacular. So we asked him to stop and took a photo of Max rappelling, and then he got down to the anchor and yelled that he was off rappel. And then Jake puts himself on rappel and he leans back and he says to me, "Do you remember the guy that died rappelling Mount Huntington?" And for some reason I was thinking of the guy that got avalanched on Mount Huntington, and I said, no, that guy died in an avalanche. And Jake goes, no, the guy that died rappelling. And I said, oh yeah. And then Jake, he doesn't quite get to finish his sentence, which was going to be, let's not be that guy, when right under my feet and right at the picket, the entire cornice broke off and went down the north face of Mount Huntington.
Just don't move. Do not move. We're gonna lose the ropes. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Can you put in like a drill or something?
Yeah. Just let me clip into this. If we lose these ropes, we are fucked. Oh my god. That was insane.
The edge is right there.
I know. I just looked over. It's okay. It's okay. I just looked over it. It broke right at the edge. Oh my god. The whole fucking cornice just broke off. Are you at the anchor? Can you belay us? You okay?
Yeah, I'm so glad you're alive. I was hooked in.
You were? Look at it dangling.
No, but I'm hooked to him.
Oh, maybe.
You're the one.
Oh, fuck.
Not you, that.
Holy fuck. Look where our footprints are.
Holy shit.
Are we tied in, Max? Don't pull! Don't pull! Okay, whoa, we're tied together. Whoa, hang on.
And it was strange, as cornice falls are, in that they're quiet, but shocking. And I remember locking eyes with Jakin and thinking somehow that he was dead. And we talked about it afterwards, and he thought the same thing, but he thought I was dead. And of course, Max is blissfully unaware. He has no idea that any of this is happening.
I remember seeing Jakin up on the slope above, running, basically sprinting down to me, and Nancy yelling, "Put us on rappel, or put us on belay, put us on belay!" And Jakin had the snow anchor that we had built just dangling off of his harness.
And I remember watching the snow fall down the north face, because that's how close to the edge I was. This giant broad ridge had now become a knife edge ridge. And luckily, we had set the anchor in a place where it wasn't the steepest part, because the whole anchor just broke out of the snow. And Jakin would have gone down the Max side, we'll call it. So we got down to Max and told him what happened. And I think it was hard for him to imagine it, because he didn't actually get to see the whole thing happen. Anyway, that whole experience was pretty awful, and it was a pretty close call. It's probably, I think it might be the closest call I've ever had in the mountains, not one I hope to repeat soon. For all of us to have made the decision that we did, that we were going to do this, work as a team of strangers, and to work so well together and pull it off and just have the trip go so well, I think is just super cool. It's a cool experience I'll probably never have that experience again.
So we're gonna try to go home now with my pride more or less shattered at this point.
Alright, let's see him.
This is the post bandage.
And the wrist. Good work, sir. Good work.
Let's go home, drink a beer.